my consciousness had just honed in and connected directly to my parasympathetic response system in a way that it's like
I want my consciousness to connect directly to my parasympathetic nervous system directly.
Oh man, it was so
I want to get that direct flight. I've got like 8 connecting flights and one's canceled and my bags got lost on the first one. Welcome to the Meditation Mind Under Matter episode where we meditate for the whole episode starting now. Okay, that was great.
It is, I mean, we certainly could do a guided meditation toward that. I always wanted to do one of the things that I thought about during COVID was doing a guided rumination.
Rumination.
Where I just sit and ruminate on things and teach people how to ruminate better. Maybe I should do that.
Picture where you wanted to be as an adult when you were 5. Now compare how short you've fallen from those expectations.
Imagine the space between where you are and where you want to be. Look down. Does it have a bottom? Drop something down there. Did you hear it make a sound? How wide is it? Can you even see the other side?
Oh, we got to make it, even if it's only got 3 episodes or whatever they're called. They're not episodes.
Guided ruminations would be good. Yeah, I thought this would be a good episode for a couple reasons. One, I just started meditating again for the first time in a while.
Because of this?
No, because of a bunch of things, including a good mushroom trip recently, and just wanting to integrate. I might be in Wisconsin for the winter still. I was thinking I'd move in the fall, but now it might be spring. And man, I'm gonna need something to stay sane here once it gets cold, because I don't do well with winter. So I'm just,
because you don't get to go outside and like move your body and stuff.
Yeah, and
is there snow activities you could get into?
I like skiing. Have you ever skied before?
Of course, yeah. I grew up in Canada. Yeah. We had the season pass.
Oh, really? So you're
knocked
good at
the wind out of myself countless times, going over some jump and then falling and just being like.
So you could do like a black diamond on an easier ski place. Right.
I got to the point where I could, but it was terrifying, and I wouldn't do it effortlessly. You know, it's like every motion is like, oh, I could die here, I could die here, I could die here. But there's people that it just looks like it's second nature to them.
Yeah.
Catherine's a really good skier. She's
really?
She used to go all the time, and she grew up in Texas, so that's crazy that she's the better skier than me, the Canadian Texas boy.
It's like the Jamaican bobsled team.
Yeah, Cool Runnings. A DVD of Cool Runnings.
If you go to Jamaica, the airport has like the bobsled that you can sit in and stuff and take pictures. And then there was where I went by Myco Meditations when I was helping facilitate retreats in Jamaica. There was this area, it's like by Treasure Beach, and there was this one restaurant, this really awesome. There's a bunch of good restaurants around. They're all very, very different than anything you're gonna see in the US. You know, it's like over a beach, it's like a lot of shacks on the beaches and stuff like that. Anyway, there's this one restaurant right by where one day a week they play Cool Runnings on a little theater outside every week for however many decades since that movie came out. So they're still into it. They're still
Yeah, it's definition of a cult classic, right? Because I don't think it did that well in theaters, but people love it.
is that true?
I'm pretty sure. Could be
John
wrong.
Candy was very good in it.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Died at 41 or something.
So the other reason for the meditation one, it just kind of we were doing a Mind Under Art for the Patreon bonus weekly series, and meditation got brought up and then I just had, my mind got flooded with so many different ideas that I was like, we just got to do a meditation episode. And we're in the middle of recording like 5 episodes about political views in a row. So I wanted to do one about pandemic history, which we will do, but I was like, maybe we should space out the political ones a bit and keep things lighter. So I feel like a good break to talk about meditation is a good way to break up a good political discussion.
A nice little piece of wasabi to cleanse your palate.
Which I was thinking about those political surveys, and they are, I wish that my family would have been one, that my extended family or whatever at get-togethers, you would read through things like that. Not do that necessarily, but actually talk about each issue specifically. And I just, because I don't think it's as jarring as talking about, or as button pushy and as much of a hot topic as talking about the current trends and the current news.
Oh, yeah.
They're more like philosophical discussions. But regardless, we're talking about meditation today. There's this guy. Well, first of all, I was curious, what do you consider meditation? Like, how would you define it?
Practicing identifying with, or rather not identifying with thoughts. So you can't stop thoughts, but you can practice not identifying them as your whole identity, rather just recognize them as a process that is forever happening in your brain while your brain is still working, and that you don't have to always listen to them. And also there's the breathing. So that's one aspect of it. The other one is like practicing breathing properly. Because I read or I heard or I listened to or someone told me at one point that we're born breathing correctly, like with our diaphragm, like the stuff that singing teachers teach you. Like, yeah, use your belly. Don't just come from up here in the throat. Don't just come from the nasal part. Come from here. And like babies know how to do that, like full breaths, but as we get older we kind of forget and we just start breathing like and it's just not efficient breathing. So breath and not identify with thoughts. Am I missing anything? What's meditation to you?
No, you covered it all. That's everything that meditation is. End of story. I don't know. I actually, hold on one second.
We will take this.
There, that's a better lighting situation.
What happened? Your leg?
I forgot a lighting thing.
Lighting.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I used to think meditation was more something that you did, like a guided meditation or something, where you a practice that much in the way that you go to the gym and you're exercising during that duration of time, and then kind of neglecting all of the other times that you're moving your body through the day is like how that was my relationship with meditation. It's like, yes, I'll meditate for this 10 to 20 minute app each day. And
which one? Headspace? Putty comb?
Yeah, I just started Headspace again, and then I'm looking into another one, which none of these are endorsed. Andy Puttycombe did come on the Here We Are podcast, so I'm a bit partial. Also,
I remember.
His voice is just incredible. I haven't heard a better voice to meditate to than his. Do you have a suggestion for a better voice to meditate to?
I mean, not better, but tied with him, I would say Corey Allen from Astral Hustle has a really great deep voice, man. And
Yeah,
whoever the
he has a good one.
broad on Calm, the Calm app,
Mm.
calm.com, the Canadian hoe, the Canadian slut, the Canadian bitch, the Canadian tramp, the Canadian cunt that reads the thing on that. She's got a great one.
That's it's such a it's very funny to call a new age like peaceful, like someone trying to make the world about just the list of all of the worst names all at once. It's a fun
Yeah.
dichotomy.
Have you heard? I think it's Chelsea Peretti's joke about like one of her friends was calling her to like tell her that she had just been harassed or something. Basically, something very serious, and like she always the way she answers the phone is always "What up, slut?" and just the inappropriate juxtaposition of those two.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess it's now something that I think of as something that you practice to learn to bring with you through the day to integrate into your waking life. Just more mindfulness in general, just being more aware of your thoughts. I don't even know if like letting go necessarily. I think that there's like a billion different kinds of meditation.
Oh yeah.
I use the word a billion too often, but I know there's so many. And I know that there's certain ones that took off more in the West. And for whatever historical reasons or whatever, but that's not all of the, there's ones that are more like about kind of like a guided contemplation or something, I guess. But
so like a means to an end rather.
Yeah, I mean, there's ones where it's like almost the opposite of every meditation app that you have, where you're actually focusing on the thoughts and following them. And I don't know, I've never done that one. I just know that I was just listening to this lecture from, there's this guy, because I was thinking about what I know about the science of meditation, and certainly not much. I will say that I've met a fair amount of academics that practice it, but there's this guy, Richard Davidson, who is like the pioneer of modern meditation neuroscience research. When he started, it was like a silly thing that wasn't, worth pursuing scientifically. And
bless those people that like legitimize woo-woo stuff in science, because that's a really uphill battle.
Yeah, I think he like met the Dalai Lama, or so, because he wrote a book with the Dalai Lama. He's actually here in Wisconsin. He's at the University of Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, dope! You know him?
Well, I've tried to get him on the show a few times, and he's a super busy guy. And also he's like crazy serious too. I mean, not that he's taking himself too seriously, but there's not like a lick of like feeling fun or, well, like Andy Puttycombe will have like a little, yeah, you might have noticed this. It's like it's a creative, it lightens it a little bit and it makes it feel a little more creative and like bouncing off of an idea. Whereas, so I actually went, so he has like a team of people because he wrote a book with the Dalai Lama and stuff. It's by the way, booking academics is not always the easiest thing in the world. Some of them are like super happy to get their information out to the public. Some are too busy. Some of them are intimidated. Some of them are like, why would I want to talk to a comic? Are they going to make fun of me? Or that's the sort of thing I had to deal with early on.
And you've talked about how, so you have way more numbers in the audio part, and then you still upload episodes on YouTube, and then people will be like, oh, this only has 200 views on YouTube. Who is this idiot? But it's like, no, I've got thousands of listeners, but it's on different platforms.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's actually been one of the unintended negative things about adding my stuff to YouTube, is it makes it look like I don't have listeners because I didn't start it till COVID, and most people listen on their podcast app. So that's made it more challenging to get to get guests too, because it's like how you see some fucking crazy bearded guy with a few hundred YouTube hits or whatever.
I kind of want.
I want to talk to this guy.
Yeah, I kind of want a monopoly of social platforms. I mean, I know that's terrible, but
yeah,
and there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, and I don't know how to make either one. But wouldn't it be great if you just had to post one place and like all the listeners would only be able to find it in that one place, and you could see everyone in one place instead of starting new TikTok account, new Twitter account, new Pinterest account, new Vlim Vlam account, new Snapchat account. Good God.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, they try to make things like that, but they just never quite do exactly what you want them to do.
Yeah, and it's because kids want to get away from their parents, so it's always going to be this exodus of one platform to another.
Yeah. So anyway, this Richard Davidson guy, I even went when I was in Madison. I even went to a talk that he was giving at some like Buddhist-ish place in the city, and I went, and then and he presents a bunch of an interesting conversation and stuff, and then afterwards I was like, oh, I'll ask a good question in a fun way, and then afterwards I'll tell him like, hey, I tried emailing you, I'd like to get you on my podcast, I just wanted to introduce myself in person. That was the plan, and I did that, but I didn't get the response that I was after. I asked, it wasn't a bad response, but I asked afterwards, because he was talking about people like master meditators that have this many hours of practice and blah blah blah, and their brain wavelength does this and that, delta, beta, whatever, a bunch of stuff I can't retain at all. But then I was like, have you found any, like in MRIs or anything, have you found any diminishing returns ever? Like, have you ever had to break it to a yogi that, like, that time that they're spending 8 hours a day meditating, they could have got the same thing out of like 40 minutes, It's just like a fun way of asking a good question that is relevant, and got a good laugh and everything. And he was like really like thrown off by it or something. And he wasn't thrown off that much, but he just goes, I think you just meditate as much as you can meditate, like as often as you can. I'm like, that's not an answer at all. It should have said, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's
own
a good
it.
thing to look into, because yeah, you'd want to know, in an ideal world, you would know exactly the right time to get the most out of. So you only have 10 minutes to meditate in a day. Is that 10 minutes best used after lunch? Is it best used first thing in the morning before bed? Like, I would love to see studies like that. That's not a crazy thing to ask of science.
That's like, if it was about sleep, I'm sure it would have been a different answer. And unless you're trying to avoid your kids or something, like, I'm sure no one wants to sleep more than they have to.
Yeah. But meditation is like, I mean, what do you mean as much as you can? There still has to be like what's reasonable to expect from people. Anyway.
Okay, smartass. Just meditate as much as you can. Next question.
I don't mean to talk shit about him, by the way. And it's also like, I'm like, he's so busy. I'm like, I'll just take someone else from your lab. Like, I'm sure they're at least as engaging to talk to as you are. Also, sometimes I what I think that it was that science needed someone exceptionally serious, to like take on the task of making meditation.
Good point.
And he's just a fucking super serious guy. The world needs some very serious people, and I'm super happy that I'm not one of them. I'm glad that's not a person, because sometimes I'm pretty serious, and then I'm like, I've been too serious lately.
Yeah. No, you've got a full range of emotions, but of course you're mostly you understand the humor of things.
But so I just looked into, he has this healthymindsinnovations.org. I just looked into today. I heard him talking about it on a thing. I'm not sure that I'm going to like it, but it's meant to be really a science. It's free and it's meant to be a science-based app. I just went through the first couple little things. So maybe I'll keep people up to date with how I like, but it breaks meditation into, this framework of 4 things that I thought might be a good way to kind of organize.
I love things that break down into 4s or 3s.
Yeah.
7s too, but man, if you can break it down into 4, that's just.
And so in case it's not completely clear from listening to me already, audience, I'm not endorsing this. I don't know that it sprang into my head today of like, oh, that's like the main sciencey meditation guy that there is. And so who knows, it might be complete dog shit, but it looks pretty legitimate. And I also like, I practice yoga, and sometimes there's an instructor in a video or at the gym or whatever that's like very, very new agey, talking about chakras and stuff like that. And then sometimes there's someone that's talking specifically about what body parts and this thing connects to this thing and the anatomy of all of it.
Yeah.
And I much prefer the anatomy one, even though I understand what they're saying less. I just like buy into it more, even though it's like the exact same moves and everything. Whereas other people are going to be the exact other way. They're going to roll their eyes at the anatomy guy and be like, oh, do you really need to know this shit? But I tend to, when I hear sciencey sounding things, it just tends to hit me at the wavelength that I understand things a little bit better. So I'm going to give this a try.
Cold Chance Yoga. Cold Chance Yoga is really good with the science stuff.
What is it?
Her name's Cold Chance. She does yoga videos, but she's always like talking about from the evolutionary perspective, from the anatomy perspective. Not like there's diagrams and stuff. And I mean, it also has like new agey vibes to it, but she's just a big science nerd and also a recovery person too. So it's like a lot of recovery stuff too.
Oh, cool.
Which I'm not a recovery person because I haven't had to recover from anything. Because I mean, I just drink half a beer a day sometimes. I wish I was that dangerous. I'm just not dangerous, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not a recovery person either, and I probably should be once in a while. I just don't go. So we're at opposite ends of not being recovery people.
Yeah. But I respect the recovery world.
Yeah. And actually, speaking of drugs, this is part of why I'm back on this meditation kick. Was I had this trip recently. I went through Denver and Vegas and LA. I saw Ramin, and we met for the first time in real life. We even played pickleball.
Yeah.
And
first time in 2 years, but I get the joke.
Or I mean, in the new world.
Yeah.
And so anyway, after that, I was like, I need a reset. I'd been drinking a little too much lately, and Sober October is coming up, which makes it just easier. And I had started a few months ago. I started smoking cigarettes from time to time, and it's like I'm on and off with that. And I'm like, I can't smoke anymore because that's the dumbest fucking thing that you can do. And it's hard to quit smoking when you're drinking. And so,
how much cigarettes would you
taking a
eat?
break?
Wait, that sentence was wrong, but it was funny. How many cigarettes did you smoke a day? What did I say? How much cigarettes do you eat?
Like if I was drinking, I would just like take down a pack and then like not smoke for 2 or 3 days afterwards. Is very much. It's mostly connected to drinking for me. But then I had some long drives and stuff. And so at the end, I knew I was like, I'm going to do this mushroom trip and I'm hoping I get what I want out of it, which is just a restart. And it was the perfect, this is like meditation on steroids to me. If you want perfect salient example of the sort of thing that you're after. This is what the experience was like. It's just a dream. By the way, trips just don't always go the exact way that you wanted them to end better, but this one did. And so I had some mushrooms. They were making me, there's the upswing that makes it, that kind of can make you anxious, unsettled. And the mushrooms like really weren't settling with my stomach. My stomach was like so mad at me. And
Empty stomach?
I think it was a mostly empty stomach. And it was a little chilly outside, and my just whole body was tense. And it was like my stomach was just spreading anxiety through my body. Like intellectually, I wasn't anxious, and I was aware of what was happening. I could feel it the whole time, but it was still like I couldn't ignore it. You know, it was just my stomach like screaming that we've been poisoned, basically. And it was fine enough. I'm still having a fine time. And I've been super anxious the last like couple months, putting together some big projects and feeling overwhelmed and like I can't accomplish half the things that I want to and blah, blah, blah. And then I went.
Half is good. You can't accomplish half.
Half is really good.
You're doing
right.
half. That's crazy.
And this was with Rihanna and Steve, by the way.
Steve Gillespie. Shout out Rihanna Andrews, Steve Gillespie.
Yep.
Right? Gillespie?
Yeah. Yep. Rihanna is my assistant, and Steve is her boyfriend, one of my best friends. So we're sitting there, and then I went and I got a blanket, and I was outside, and we put on lo-fi, which I'd never heard lo-fi
the music
before. Yeah, the music lo-fi.
Mm-hmm.
As I had like some ketamine playlist from a clinic or something, and that was fine. But then when we put on lo-fi and I was sitting there and I was warmer and enough time had gone by for my stomach to settle, I just felt it was like all of the anxiety that I've been feeling for months just bubbled up in my body, and then it all just released all at the same time, just like this connection between my core and my mind, and just this pure sense of ease and peacefulness, and just like and it was like my consciousness had just honed in and connected directly to my parasympathetic response system in a way that it's like
I want my consciousness to connect directly to my parasympathetic nervous system directly.
Oh man, it was so
I want to get that direct flight. I've got like 8 connecting flights, and one's canceled, and my bags got lost on the first one. Direct flight to the para.
It was just pure contentment, and we were also just, you know, I was thinking of a couple of potential jokes and things for a show that I'm putting together, and we were just having some delightful, fun conversations and having some laughs and things, which is why I never think these things should be taken like too seriously, because you can take things pretty seriously and still have some laughs along the way. But afterwards and ever since, it doesn't feel the same. Like it wears off. I might have to do another one soon. But everything in life just felt manageable all of a sudden for the first time, like since COVID, really. And it was just this perfect reset. And it didn't completely change my life and everything. And I'm not just like now do everything correctly. But it was way beyond what I would have been dared to even ask for out of a 5-hour experience. And it's also interesting that you're connected intensely with the pain of it too. That's another thing that people need to know, is that like that was all, if it weren't for all the stress that I'm feeling, I wouldn't have also got that same release, which then connected to just everything in my life, not all my worries going away, all of my worries being like, and I can handle that, and there's solutions for that. And Man, it's amazing when you can just flip the state of mind like that.
Yeah, the relief of that constipation, the
Yeah.
releasing of that weight. And it's weird to think about how just you're overwhelmed by all the projects you have, but you're probably not the most busy person in the world. Not like
No.
in the sarcastic way, but I mean,
Oh
Beyonce
no.
is probably busier than both of us combined, but
Yeah.
Beyonce finds a way to still do all that stuff and not be as stressed as we would be about like two projects. And then also
Yeah.
there's someone who just needs to write one email and it's like stressing them out like infinitely. So it's
Right.
like there's the amount of stress versus what you have to do is not like true, really. It's just a story you're telling yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Man. Well, I hope it's not too hard when we're as big as Beyonce.
At least combined. I think combined we can be as big as Beyonce. Not in today's world. There would have to be like cultural shifts and has to become post ironic. Like, let's go to the arena and watch Mind Under Matter.
That would be some parallel universe where we're just in the middle of Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, in the round.
I'm sitting there with my hand just on my chin, just kind of caring, just slightly above. Like if most of my day is a 5 out of 10 right now, I'm like, I'll give this a 6.5.
$50 tickets for the cheap seats.
But yeah, you're absolutely right that that no matter, I mean, I hope I'm not reframing this in a way that you weren't intending, but much like the Tetris piece, which, man, I've shown so many people that, and that
the
highlight
Tetris
with
art.
that episode. Yeah, the Tetris art, and the highlight of it on Instagram and everything. That we're always, you're going to have mental barriers no matter what. There's nothing. I mean, my experience that you just heard, that's the closest anyone will ever come to breaking through every mental barrier, and it doesn't just last forever. That's like I got a solid 5-day relief from mental barriers. That is a good vacation from mental barriers.
What was the first day after that like? You mean you just started to notice,
well,
that's a new barrier up there?
It was really perfect, and I planned it. I planned it this way as well. So I was just driving from Denver to La Crosse, Wisconsin. So I had like a 13-hour drive the next day. So it was nice because there wasn't going to be an inclination for me to drink or whatever, as I was just going to be driving all day, and it's just time by myself. I like being on that's longer than I like I would have liked to have split it up into 2 drives. I didn't because of podcast scheduling and stuff that I had to attend to. But just listening to audiobooks and just reflecting on things. I started listening to this book, 4,000 Weeks, which was recommended to me by my friend Marty Hazelton.
Episode 1 of Here We Are.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like it as much as she's raved about it. I think that maybe some of the concepts are not as foreign to me as they were to her. But it's about, it's a guy that's like a life hacker efficiency thing that was like, that then realized he was just like addicted to all of that stuff.
A Tim Ferriss copy.
Yeah, like recovering Tim Ferriss, basically. Like, I used to try to be Tim Ferriss. I'm not anymore. Here's why, and here's all of these other ways that life can have value and everything. There's been some nice moments within it, but it's good to.
He's undoing all the life hacks. Like, instead of putting your keys in one place all the time, hide them around the house. This way it'll add time to your schedule, causing you to be late, causing you to lose your job.
I mean, much of it is like just like the Tetris art, which is just like he's like, yeah, I did the email zero thing for a while, and then I was just really good at responding to emails. And you know what happened? Lots more people emailed me all of the time because I was such a good steward of my email inbox. And so people like knew that about me and then came to expect it out of me. And talking about, like
I never
that's
considered
the downside
that.
of being
I'm
the
glad I
best.
haven't done it yet.
Yeah, you've never given it a try.
Not once.
Me either. But yeah, it's a lot of, like if you're the best worker at the job, well, like the supervisor and everything is just going to, who's the supervisor going to pick to do things? The guy that does lots of things? Like give it to the guy that does lots of things.
Doormat will do
more
it.
Shit. Yeah. Just get more shit dumped on your plate. But it's so, to me, it's one of those things where they're like debunking and reinforcing at the same time. I'm not over the moon about the book, but I find that for me, there's not really, self-help books don't really make a big impact on me. They just kind of, they're almost like a meditative experience in and of themselves. Like when I'm in the process of reading some sort of self-help book, I just tend to take care of myself better or be more productive or whatever, just because I'm like, I wouldn't be reading this turd of a book.
Yeah,
for
self-fulfilling prophecy. And I don't read self-help books like a novel. Like I think that's kind of silly to start with like page 1 and then make it to the end like it's a story. Like you should be inspired to put it down and then go do stuff, or maybe not do stuff, go meditate or sleep or go farm carrots or something.
Yeah, I had this book, Getting Things Done, which I need to read. I really like audiobooks, and I started listening to it as an audiobook, and it was the most... I've never experienced so much anxiety from a book before, because it's just telling me all the things I need to do with my life while I'm in the car. Like the one time that I simply cannot do any of these things. Like, oh my God. It's a really awful experience. Do not listen to that as an audio, but it's a classic self-help book that's like the big takeaway is anything that takes less than 2 minutes, you just do it.
Oh.
You don't put off anything that takes less than 2 minutes. You do every single thing.
Searching for exceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff you shouldn't do anyway. I mean, you could kill someone in under 2 minutes, but that shouldn't be on your to-do list. So the first statement should be, if it's on your to-do list and it's legal and ethical, then
I like someone looking at their to-do list, be like, all right, what can I reasonably do in under 2 minutes? I guess I'll kill somebody quick. More appealing than email zero.
Yeah.
I wonder if I'd kill someone to just have all of my emails managed perfectly for the rest of my life
with no repercussions.
No repercussions. I never have to deal with just email wise. Like I have an email assistant or something like that just does all of it for me and I mean, I had an assistant do that sort of thing, but just email. But for the rest of my life that I don't have to pay, I might murder somebody.
I would. I mean, I would be sneaky about it. I would find someone that's trying to do that, like end their life because they're in chronic pain and they want the right to commit suicide or something. I would kill that person. Or
matching.
Yeah. Or, I don't know, some politician that's popular to dislike.
Secret Service knocks on your door.
Yeah. I didn't say what country or planet. I'm gonna kill a politician on Zeta Reticuli. Is that a star system or a planet? Damn it. Oh, what if they come after me and they're like even scarier than Secret Service?
From a different planetary system that's been monitoring us and is now scared.
What if they're tiny and that like my like exhale breath would just wipe out their whole civilization because they can't tolerate carbon dioxide or something?
Well, speaking of a good thing for mindfulness is self-fulfilling prophecies. It's a good way to break up self-fulfilling prophecies or reframe what you want as your mantra or whatever else, because there are I find that it's easy for, like, a conspiracy theorist is a really good example. Someone that thinks the universe is plotting against them, and then they like and that there's going to be like authoritarian control or whatever, and then they act like such a dick that like rules that weren't going to be implemented now, like, okay, we need a fucking sign for that now. And so like you kind of bring it upon yourself. Well, there's people like that, like that will usually in a manic episode or whatever, just get like super paranoid or schizophrenic or whatever, think that all of the think like the Secret Service is after you, and then like threaten to kill the president because of it, and then the Secret Service has to be notified.
Why would they threaten to kill the president if the Secret Service already knows about it?
It happens. I've talked with therapists where they like have to report people and stuff.
That's crazy.
And then it's like anytime that president or politician or whatever comes through town, the Secret Service has to keep an eye on, or at least they tell them that I think the Secret Service comes to your door and it's like, hey, just so you know, when whoever comes through town, we got our eye on you, bub. Then afterwards, they're probably like, that's just a lunatic. They're not really. I don't know. I don't know the intricacies of the Secret Service. Anyway, mindfulness.
I'm fascinated by all upper like level security things, like how you get there and whether someone has infiltrated it through years of like, a 15-year con of like, I'm gonna earn their trust for 15 years and then flip the switch.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's just a spy or something.
Yeah. It is fascinating. I had this guy, I might have mentioned it before, but I had this guy on my podcast. I wish I could remember his name. Had
Rick.
Him on a couple times.
Bill.
From Wichita State.
Angus.
Maybe it'll come to me. But he's Australian, and he got really interested in security, just like
stay safe.
In his mid-20s. He wasn't even in college or anything, and then went to college to study like security psychology and stuff and figure out how to study it. And then he moved to the United States because it's like, well, if you're going to study security, that's where you go. Like, he's interested in gun control and stuff, just fascinated by it. It's like if you're in Alaska, but you really want to research crocodiles, like you got to move.
Maybe ice crocodiles, but not regular ones.
But yeah, security.
I've been playing Zelda a lot recently, so I just imagine there's an ice version of everything. I mean, it's from 2018. I wouldn't call it new anymore, but it's new to me. And I actually started playing it. What?
Not 8-bit Nintendo Zelda.
No. This is how many bits is the Switch? I think Switch is 256, maybe 512. I don't know.
It's a lot of bits.
Yeah. A lot of little registers saying whether it can be a 0 or a 1. And then 4 of those makes a byte.
When did you start meditating in life? You remember the first time?
2014, maybe 2013, somewhere after 2010. I didn't touch the stuff before then. I can't imagine having touched the stuff. But I don't even think I sat cross-legged once before that. Not even in kindergarten.
Can't sit cross-legged. It's very uncomfortable.
I think I was really stressed out when I first moved to Los Angeles. I think I really needed it when I first
Mm,
came here, and I was looking for anything to calm down a bit. And
mm,
I started with maybe Headspace and Calm, that kind of stuff, and
mm.
then worked my way up to not needing the app because you just get tired of like, oh, I have to pull out my phone and click the thing and choose the thing and put my headphones in. What if I just was this for a second?
Mm-hmm.
And then I cycle back and forth. When did you start?
Well, it's funny. I started in when I was in LA as well. And as you're saying all that, I'm like, is it that people in LA are chill, or is it that they need to be chill to survive?
It's all an
Because
act.
that's when I had road rage issues. I still am like, I could get fired up.
Me too. I'm not
eh,
like, I don't get out of the car. Like there's
yeah,
levels of road rage where you get out of the car and like
yeah,
start a
yeah,
fight or something. But
yeah.
I'll do everything up till then. Lots of
Yeah.
creative swearing, and the swears don't even sound good. Sometimes it's like, Jesus shit, fuck ass, fucking mother asser. And then, right, yeah, it's not even that good of a swear. It just came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how I got into audiobooks, because audiobooks, I listening to like a dense sciencey audiobook, it forces it forces my attention, and I have to pay such close attention to, the more complex the better, because then I have to pay such close attention that all I can do is just look at the car in front of me and my GPS, and then next thing I know, I'm there and the traffic's just going however it's going. And
What if someone doesn't let you in, though? What if you really
yeah,
need to get in the exit lane and they don't let you in? That
it
little
helps.
Lexus, the white Lexus, isn't letting you in.
The white Lexus, oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're dead. I'm getting out. No, I just, it hasn't been a cure. It's just helped. I still have road rage a little bit, but so I I got into CrossFit for a little while, and I was just taking good care of myself otherwise. And there was this like 2 or 3 month CrossFit thing. I swear, it's funny. It changed my life because there's all these things that I discovered within it that I like, because they'd have you do one different thing each week, like try some new practice each
Like
week.
flip over a tractor tire or something.
No, no, no. Like drink a glass of water every day was one, or take
Who
a
doesn't do that?
multivitamin every day, or I think it was like X amount of
Oh,
water every day. Yeah, whatever you're actually supposed to drink. And then there was a meditation week, there was a yoga week, there was a regular mobility thing. So it got me into both yoga and meditation, and I tried Headspace, and I really, I think I felt like I got it. I didn't get it for like the first 8 or 9, and by the 10th one of the first series, I was like, okay, I actually understand the value in this. So, which is pretty
yeah.
quick. I thought it was going to take longer, and I was,
It's like one of those antidepressants where they say like you're not going to feel it for the first week, but then after
mhm.
that first week you're going to start to notice differences.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then it's just changed. I've gone in and out of it, but I actually find yoga to be one of the most meditative things. And then just I was also I started meditating. I was meditating yesterday, and I was just thinking about it was this thing on it was Headspace series for self-esteem. I'm like, yeah, I'll take some self-esteem. I wonder what it has to say. And there is, it was, I was thinking about how much, certainly I do, I'm sure so many people beat themselves up just so much, and because the common things that you hear with meditation is like, oh, I couldn't do that, or it's not doing anything for me, or I wouldn't be good at it.
Too
And I was
busy.
thinking about how many times I've thought that I wasn't good at meditation. And I'm like, who's grading? like,
Yeah.
like I'm the one grading this experience, and I'm just giving myself an F for no reason. And I was like, I'm just sitting here, breathing, and being distracted. That's part of it. That's not a separate thing. That's not every time you're distracted, that's not a red mark on your paper.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
all
think
part of
thoughts.
what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Don't think thoughts. Oh, I thought a thought. I suck. I'm stupid. Oh, that's a thought also.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm extra stupid. Fuck me. Oh,
Yeah. And and it's like all these things are probably things that I've thought before while meditating, but sometimes you just need a reminder, or sometimes it just hits different depending on the day. And
that's why it's weird to call it I tried meditating. Sometimes people are like, yeah, I tried meditating yesterday, but it was just I was filled with thoughts. But
Yeah.
that's still the meditation. Even if you
Yeah.
get a 0 on your scorecard, it's the same.
Yeah, right.
And to the outside world, yeah, you're just sitting there.
Yeah. Because I was also like, why does it take me effort to set aside 10 or 20 minutes to sit here with my eyes closed, listening to my breath? I spend a good part of my day doing that. But if I'm not like laying in bed with my eyes if I'm like sitting up and intentionally listening to my breath, I'm like, great, now I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Work. It's like, I was thinking about how fortunate it is anytime that you can just find 10 minutes to just close your eyes and listen to your breath. I was like, why does it take work to get me to do that? That should be like having dessert.
Yeah, it should be the first thing we do, and we put it off forever. Even Seinfeld does it. I mean, Seinfeld and David, what's his name? David Lynch do TM. And that's the one, transcendental meditation. That's the one where you pay a guru $1,000 for your mantra. And I think the benefit of that is that if you paid a lot of money for it, you're going to remember your mantra. And it's a secret, and you don't get to tell anybody your mantra.
Mm-hmm.
But if you tell someone, I mean, they're not going to ask for your money back either. So it's another honor system thing. So that's kind of interesting.
Oh man, we gotta start selling off those mind under mantras.
Yeah, moms.
We gotta get into that mantra game.
We should. We
Give
could
us
come up with like 50 good
$1,000,
ones.
We'll get a good mantra for you.
Too easy. Too easy.
Stop
Too
giving away all the
easy.
gold.
That's the sample. If you want,
no, that was. I wanted that to be the only thing. Don't tell anyone. This one's personalized for you, and you just go too easy.
Too easy. I'm gonna start actually doing that one now.
Soft rock.
Keep on doing whatever.
I also, I was thinking it's interesting that it's become more popular in sports. It's like once athletes start doing something, then it's like, okay, all right, we can do it. Okay, I can feel good. All right. If the star quarterback is feeling good sometimes, I guess I can feel good too. Oh, the star quarterback of my favorite team takes a nap daily. Oh, I guess it's not just for cowards.
I didn't even know they meditated now. That's pretty cool. Who's the meditators?
I don't know. I think they're getting into. I mean, they always said like Phil Jackson was very.
He was
Buddhist
zen as fuck.
and everything, and
yeah, Phil's a different cat though.
But there must be times. Do you think? Sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, I was just gonna say that Phil like loves Native American culture. I know that's broad. I think maybe a specific Native American culture, but he referred to Dennis Rodman as the the Unpekai or whatever thing, and it's like that's the man in the tribe that walks different. You are the Umpik tribe. And then like from then on, Dennis Rodman was like, oh, I feel so seen. Because I thought I was a weirdo and lost and stupid. And it's like, no, I'm the Ukpaktre.
Yeah, I wonder how often you're playing sports. Say you're playing, say you're an NFL player, you're a Pro Bowler, like offensive lineman or something like that, and it's the Super Bowl, and it's all down to this last play. How many people on that field have a thought in that moment that's like, oh man, I forgot to call Jim back last week? Do you think that happens a lot? You never hear that in the post game interview. You know, it's just like reading. I watched a really good episode of The Wire last night, and I kind of zoned out thinking about it out there. You never hear that.
They'd probably get arrested because there's only 3 responses you can give. It's like, we gave it our best out there. And then they like deconstruct where they went wrong, but they also hustled and the other team did better. I bet golfers meditate. They have to.
Yeah.
Because
I just golfed a few days ago.
Regular
Probably
golf?
the 10th
18?
time in my life. Yeah,
18 holes?
Yeah. Yep.
How'd you do?
Yeah, I got 1 par.
1 par? That's nuts.
Yeah. I was at 3. I just got lucky and drove it right onto the green, like
nice.
5 feet from the hole, then missed 1 putt and got par, almost bogeyed. And
what's bogey? When you hit it in the water?
That's 1 short of par. Oh no, you're right.
I thought bogey was like crazy.
Bogey's bad.
Yeah.
Well, whatever the other one is.
Pro?
There's so many people listening. What's the one in golf if you're better than par? Birdie. That's
birdie.
What it is. It's birdie. Bogey bad, birdie's good.
I got the other day I played 9 holes and got a birdie. So
I always want to tell people when they try, like just some rando on social media, when they try to give me a lesson about viruses, it's like, man, I wish these people could hear me give the commentary on sports. Just to hear what the difference is between like being knowledgeable about a subject and level of expertise and stuff,
Yeah.
But anyway, mindfulness, because that is the thing that they commonly say when you're rock climbing or you're doing something we're playing pickleball together, and sometimes the goal is to get in the flow. You get in that flow state where time just disappears and you don't think about. And it's weird that that's connected to meditation. But then so is mindfulness, which is the exact opposite of a flow state. A flow state's like an automaton. You're just instinct. You're just going.
Yeah.
And
what is mindfulness? Because it's not a full mind. It's not a chatterbrain, but it's also not a flow state.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe mindfulness is gratitude, where you're like eating food and you're thinking about where it came from and like all the things that had to happen for that food to end up towards you.
Dude, I literally just had that happen after this meditation. I have this, again, this isn't a product plug. In fact, let me know if there's better ones out here, but these spin drifts
those are pretty good.
Damn good. Yeah, they're like they're a step up from LaCroix, which I'm not talking shit to LaCroix. I like a good pamplemousse. But anyway, I had a sip after a meditation and I was like, man, carbonation's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you take it for granted. Our ancestors never got to experience carbonation.
Not once. Or maybe like there's a natural carbonated spring, but it probably smells like sulfur or something, right? Is there natural carbonated?
I don't think you're drinking anything carbonated in the wild.
No.
I wouldn't think.
It's our last drink.
But it's like, there. I don't know. Is carbonation bad for you if you have too much of it? Is that a thing?
I'm
I don't know
sure.
that
I'm
it
sure
is.
anything
It's
too much is
everything's
bad, but
anything that's just
specifically
not plain
carbonation.
clean water. But it is like it's like a whole fireworks show going off on your tongue. That it's like if you see a baby have their first taste of soda or carbonated thing like ever in life, they just go bananas. Their
They
eyes
like
just
it?
go crazy. I think so. Yeah.
Oh, actually, now to think about
Maybe
it,
I haven't watched that many babies
I
drink
had
a
a friend-
carbonated beverage for their first time.
my
But
friend's
I
little
always like those
sister.
videos when they give kids like their first taste of a thing.
I haven't seen that. My only memory is my friend's little sister, who must have been like 2 or 3, got to drink Coke, just a little bit of it. And I remember thinking
Yeah.
like, oh, that I didn't know it's not good for the baby, right? Oh, whatever. I'm not a stupid narc. It's your kid. You can do what you want. But I just remember being surprised by the baby getting to drink the Coke, and it really liked it.
Yeah. It is. But it's that all of that is to say is that that's just the silly stuff that sounds like nothing, but that was just 20 minutes of meditating, and I reappreciated carbonation again, which is like that's a good 20-minute investment, even though I'm going to take carbonation for granted again starting tomorrow, I'm sure. It's still nice that today I get to appreciate carbonation more than I normally would.
And it's everywhere. Like any corner store is going to have hundreds of carbonated options for you, varying amounts of sugar, flavors, alcohol, caffeine.
How did it come up? How did they come up with carbonation and why did they think it was going to be a good idea? That must have been, I feel like it would have been a little scary drinking the first carbonated thing.
There's probably some weird history of it, like it was used in laundry or something, and then one housewife happened to like the taste of it and realized that it was non-toxic. She introduced it to her walking club, and from there on, the walking club introduced it to the husbands, who then took credit for it, and that's what we know as 7-Up. And it was called 7-Up because it was 7 of the ladies that would walk and clean laundry with this carbonated thing that they would just call Up. But then it was called 7-Up. And the red dot is from when they went to Japan that year.
You are very good at making up science history. That went on for so much longer than I ever would have been able to commit to it. That's your superpower.
I wish I had any other superpower.
Oh, that's a great superpower. The carbonation process was invented by a man named Joseph Priestley in England in 1767. The process, however, wasn't commercialized until 1786 in Switzerland by a man named Jacob. Can you guess his last name?
Carbona.
Schweppes.
Oh, Schweppes is the first carbonation?
Schweppes is the first carbonation.
That's crazy. They fell from the top to the whatever it ranked 8 or something.
And
if you look at Schweppes,
19 years. That's half of my life. Like if it I can't imagine. I guess carbonation just
it took 19 years to make it.
19 years until it was commercialized. You would have thought the first time someone tried carbonation, they're like, all right, we're all rich now. Let's just do that a bunch.
It's probably such a big paradigm shift too. Like if you're drinking non-carbonated stuff and then all of a sudden there's like bubbles in your mouth, like what is this? Are you killing me? Are you poisoning me? Help. And then realize that you're not.
Yeah, the like exploding cans and bottles or whatever that would have happened must have just scared the shit out of so many people.
Yeah.
And they didn't even know about Mentos. Carbonated beverages were first bottled for sale back in 1837. So this took about 70 years from the time carbonated beverages were discovered and until the time you could actually buy a bottle of it. That's I feel like it doesn't take that long to make things happen.
It was the
Anymore.
1800s. You couldn't write an email. You had to wait 2 weeks for them to write back to your letter. The letter got lost.
We get so many life-changing things like in a given year that we're just so used to, like, paradigm shifting inventions just happening on a regular basis, that whenever the next greatest thing, we're just like, oh, latest and greatest, blah blah blah. Like, we're just so used to it. It took them 80 years to get carbonation for sale. Once it happened, the flavored carbonated beverages became the mainstay in Western culture. Yeah, guy, that of course it did. Once it happened, it was the mainstay. The guy that discovered carbonation, I'm sure that he died before he ever got to see his product on market. Anyway, there's a little history of carbonation for you.
He died
guys,
penniless, I imagine. Most great
Yeah.
inventors just die penniless. Mozart died penniless. Van Gogh died penniless.
Yeah. That's I
got to give up all my little money that I have when I die.
Okay,
just so I can die
I'm
penniless.
Oh yeah. All right. So, are you doing any meditation currently?
Yes, but not through any apps. Although I still have the apps on my phone, and I only do a 5-minute one. I found that I get the same benefit from 5 as 10, and I might just be cheating myself. But something about 5, it makes me do it. Whereas when I sit down for 10, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I started doing 20 just because I'm feeling ambitious, but I'll drop down to 10 soon enough, I'm sure. Have you ever integrated practice in I'll just give an example of time I did. Speaking of LA and road rage, one of the things that I did to offset my anxiety as well in terms of driving, because I lived in Malibu, so it was quite a ways to get to downtown LA. And so I would look it up on Waze or Google Maps or whatever, and I would leave like at least an hour, usually 90. I would leave myself at least an hour or 90-minute buffer room from the ETA or whatever to get to a venue, because it would often take a little while longer in finding parking and everything else. Say I was going to a show or whatever, but also then I would have time to sit in my car and do a meditation app. And then I would go into the show or the meeting or whatever. And I was always punctual, and I was always, I was regularly stress-free because of that. And it was before that, I was always the type of person that cut it just way too close to punching into work or getting to things on time. And so that was kind of a game changer for me. And I still do things like that where I'm just like, I won't fire up an app. I'm just like, I'm just going to close my eyes and meditate for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I do
like
that when
that.
I do that when I'm waiting quite a bit.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities to just squeeze it in there. And even when, that weird moment before someone's about to come over, or before a delivery person's about to come over, and it's not enough time to really sit down and do deep work or watch a show or anything. It's just enough time to do nothing at all. So you might as well throw a little meditation there.
I also find as someone who naps regularly, and I nap between 20 and 40 minutes. My average is probably about 25 to 30 minutes. And that's enough to make me feel very refreshed. But sometimes 10 to 20 minutes of meditating, of a guided meditation, can make me feel almost as refreshed as taking a nap. In fact, I feel like sometimes I fall asleep while meditating.
That's a big problem for a lot of people.
Well. I don't do it a lot, but
Yeah, some people, maybe they haven't learned how yet, or they just have a different brain that doesn't let them do it, but they just always fall asleep if they try. And
I
it's one
mean,
of the reasons we avoid it too, because we think that if we sit down and just focus on our breath for 10 minutes, then we're going to lose the momentum that we've built throughout the day already. And it's actually the opposite most of the time, that you're going to get more momentum from.
I think that most Americans just go all like maybe at an intense speed, but they're up and they're doing things just all through the day, that by the time and maybe they watch shows or whatever at night, but by the time that they truly like sit to relax, they're just so exhausted that they fall right asleep, no matter what. So it's like when you run ragged, you might fall asleep during meditation. It's probably a good sign that you need to meditate, or that you need to get a little more sleep. If
You
you're
know the
falling
saying,
asleep during
right?
meditation.
The saying goes, if you have time to meditate for 15 minutes a day. If you don't have time to meditate for an hour.
Yeah.
It's a nice
So I'm
little
gonna.
knee slapper. I love knee slappers.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm trying to see how integrating that back into my life goes, and I've been paying this Headspace subscription fee still, so I might as well use the damn thing that I'm paying for and not using. So you want to hear the 4 things that this is Healthy Minds Innovation?
Yeah, I got so excited about it, and then we completely forgot about it.
I got you. I didn't forget about it, not for a minute. I just let tangents be tangents. Okay, so the first one is awareness. I'll read what it says. Be present, train your mind to be more calm and focused. Meditation training to strengthen mindfulness, attention, and self-awareness. So that's one aspect of meditation. Should I just read all of them?
Yeah, I think awareness is pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. Connection. Feel connected, develop skills to strengthen appreciation, kindness, and compassion through building connection skills. Insight, get curious, learn how your sense of self shapes your emotions and reactions, and practice self-inquiry to decrease stress and emotional reactivity. And purpose, stay motivated, strengthen your values and principles, and learn simple skills to apply them in everyday life. I
want to assign a direction to these if there's not one already, but I like to, whenever something is broken down to component parts, I like to see if there's other component parts that it corresponds with, such as like north, south, east, west, or up, down, inside, outside. And in my head right now, like awareness, you could say, is like kind of the top down, like looking down at yourself, like from a bird's eye view, like having awareness of your whole self rather than being stuck in your claustrophobic head. Connection can be seen as the outside, like connecting to that which is outside of your immediate thing. Insight is going inwards, obviously insight. It's like in, and then the word sight. And then purpose is maybe, man, I don't know what purpose is. Maybe also outward or something.
Well,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work completely. One of the puzzle pieces is missing.
I think that's pretty good. I'd say I think within this they put special emphasis on social connection. Maybe don't quote me on that, but that's my understanding, that the connection is kind of about appreciation and kindness and compassion and that sort of thing a little. So it's a little more socially minded, but yeah, I feel like connected. I feel like
shouldn't kindness be default? We have like so much emphasis on remember, be kind.
Yeah.
Remember kindness.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about kindness.
Oh, kindness. Of course. Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, I don't know how to describe purpose better. I mean, we spend much of this show talking about purpose. So that's take all of the last 26 episodes of the show, smush them together. There's your definition of purpose. I feel like I lack purpose the most. I don't always feel like I'm managing my social connections as good as I could, but I also feel pretty set. Like I have.
It's an infinite game, though. Like we said with the email guy, that if you reply to one email, you get more emails as your reward.
Yeah. I just one thing that's nice about the being a comedian, the comedy community, and the artist community is that it is like a little bit of a club that you're a part of in a lot of ways, and we tend to just have lots of friends and lots of people that we know, and so even though I still experience loneliness and things like that, sometimes I feel for people that don't have like a space to get a lot of those same connections, because I have connection over. Usually I'm like, I don't have space for a single other connection. If I meet someone interesting or whatever, I'm like, I'm sorry, I am full. Like there are no more outlets to plug in around here. So
you remember the Seinfeld where the guy wants to be Seinfeld's friend, and he's like, I'm sorry, I don't have room for more than 3 friends. I'm sorry, Raymond. He's like, it's because I'm a pool guy, right? You think you're better than me? No, it has nothing to do with you being a pool guy.
Yeah, I got that. It's like the Dunbar number, whatever that is, 150
12.
people or something like that.
Wait,
that you're supposed
what's 12?
I don't know. Is that well? I know there's things like they say you are the collection of the 8 closest people to you, or 12 closest people to you, or something.
There's
like
something with 7 to 9, I think. Like 7 to 9 is the number of digits we can remember, or maybe it's 7 to 12. But that's why phone numbers can only be so long.
Yeah, that would be 10
in the 80s. I know we don't remember phone numbers anymore.
10 and 7. There's the Dunbar number is 150. That's the that's what they estimate someone would know really whom one can maintain a stable social relationship with.
Was Dunbar the guy that kicked people out of the tribe? Where it's like one more child is born, and then he had to decide whether one person gets exiled or whether he kills the baby.
Sorry, 151.
And that was called...
But we have a thing for even numbers here, and we got to set a limit somewhere. So we're launching you into the woods.
And he would use his Dunbar axe to either decapitate the child or to signal to the other tribesmen to leave.
Well, he's a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar. So that's the real less exciting thing behind it.
And he's got a number for as long as humans remember him. That's pretty cool.
I feel like I'm I feel like I'm pretty aware in that I feel like that just continues to get better. I feel like I'm always becoming slightly more aware of aspects of my inner world. And then insights, man, I feel like I have more insights than I know what to do with. What I don't have is purpose. Like I need the thing to keep me grounded and moving, and a reason to like pursue those insights and write them down and remember them and expand on them and work on them and build them into a thing. That's my main thing that I probably lack the most in terms of these 4 things, I would say.
Yeah, main objective is a tough one. It's easy to have many side quests, like a little purpose could be like, okay, finishing the dishes or writing that email or getting this episode finished or something. But the big purpose as to why are we doing all the little side quests, that's like the question.
Yeah,
and
side
some people
quest is
find
a perfect way to put it.
Yeah, like some people find the answer in religion or something, and then they have like the big glorious purpose. And that sounds Nazi-ish, right? Wasn't there like a thing, the glorious purpose? No, sorry, that's the final solution. That's what it was called, not the glorious purpose. The glorious purpose.
So, we announced that. We were like, we noticed that sounds strangely like the final solution. No. Ours is the glorious purpose.
Yeah, I would love a glorious purpose.
What about that for the artwork? Something about, you know, you think life is about this a certain path, but it's actually about the side quests or something.
Yeah, something to do with how side quests are easy and abundant and understandable, and then main purposes are just anyone's bet.
Because, like, take this show for example. I love doing this show, and I'd like to see it grow. But it's also, I mean, certainly there's a level of stress that will go away once our bills are paid and there's enough demand to like tour or whatever else, and that will be fun. But also, even if we're in Madison Square Garden doing this show and the round, I don't know that that's a thing that I would ever be able to like tap into and be like, yes, that's my purpose. Like, I feel like I feel like I
while
need
we're on
multiple
stage,
purposes, or like I don't know. The one big one, I've just never seen any of it. Yeah, like I think stand-up comedy was the one that was the closest thing to really feeling like a sense of purpose. And then when when that sense of purpose with it went away, I was like, oh, all right. Well, that's all I was holding on to.
Yeah, like I've had that with a bunch of different things, like stand up. It's like, oh, this is it. This is going to be the one thing I'm going to devote my 10,000 hours to. And then it can also be music. It's also like the art thing. And then somewhere along the journey for all of those, it becomes like, yeah, but I don't want to. There must be more. There must be something more to this.
Yeah, because
and then we just keep going.
Because there's so much going on in life. So take this show, for example. This show being my purpose to do a lot. This show, Soft Rocks, I would like, if I could just do this show. Well, if I could just do this show and here we are and not have any financial needs or anything, I think that I wouldn't tour that much or anything. I would be very content, but it's still... It still doesn't connect me to like a sense of purpose to go for a jog, or to do. There's a lot of other things going on in life that don't directly relate to making this podcast that are still important, that I still need to tap into something that I can't just tell myself because of mind under matter,
Yeah. Well, it goes back to episode 1 pretty much, talking about doing the thing before you're motivated to do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So a purpose can be seen as a motivation. And then if you can't find the purpose, you're like, I won't do it. But you do the thing, and then the purpose starts to emerge because you're already doing the thing. And then you have bias towards the thing you're already doing.
Okay, let's do a 7-point scale. I like when surveys have 7-point scales because it
gives us a neut.
It gives us a neutral. We like a good neutral position. So 4 is a good one. So let's give ourselves a score on each of these. Awareness, what are you saying? Out of 7.
6.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 for myself. There's certain things that I'm fucking oblivious to, for sure. I'm at least a 5. I want to go like 5. That's not legal.
That'd be funny if I have like toilet paper hanging out of my ear and I'm like giving myself like, yeah, I'm like 6 on awareness. I'm like very aware of everything I do.
Yeah.
You criticizing me? I've already thought of it. I already know.
All right. I'll do a 5 for awareness because yeah, just cause. Maybe I think I'm close to a 6. I think that when things are going well, I'm a 6, and I think that when I'm taking less good care of myself, I'm a 5. But still above average awareness. How about connection?
0. No. 2.
Yeah, I feel that way as well. I was going to say, yeah, I'd give myself a 2. Maybe I could maybe bump myself up to 3. I mean, I have so many lovely people that I'm connected to in my life and grateful for. I just doesn't do that much for me, to be honest. Like, it just doesn't.
Maybe because it's a disconnect. Like we think that, oh, I'm not texting back, I'm not good at connecting, but texting is a very limited form of connecting, and so is talking on the phone.
Yeah.
And FaceTime too, because you're not supposed to hold a little deck of cards size version of the person while also looking at yourself the whole time. It's bizarre.
That would be funny to meditate, and just speaking of like reappreciating carbonated beverages, to meditate and then FaceTime with someone and be like, "Oh my God, you're like the size of a deck of cards." Oh wait, oh, it's a phone. Yeah, I just got real deep in that meditation.
I've only spoken to a tiny version of my mom for 2 years.
It is. I've thought about that. I used to have some joke about that with porn. It's weird that you're masturbating to like a little. This lady's like 5 inches and like 2-dimensional and made of pixels. And it's like, yeah, I can believe that. I can imagine I'm having sex with that.
Tinkerbell fantasies. Starring Julia Roberts in 1995. VR porn puts you kind of there, but you also
have you done it?
Like, oh, of course, I've done everything, but it. But you get tired of everything. Like at first it's like, this is nuts. Like this could be dangerous. You'll get addicted to this forever.
It would be, sorry to interrupt, but it would have been funny if you had in fact just done everything in life and that's what you meant. But instead just like porn specifically, you've done everything. It'd be like, oh, you're a pervert. No, I've actually done everything in life. I am God. I am a deity.
I am God, and I am you, for you are also God. I've said this on a different podcast, and it's not even my joke, but I still want to share it. But John O'Zalay, a friend of yours, and also has been on Here We Are.
Started in Boston.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. He's a Boston guy. Hell yeah. Boston comics are cut from a good cloth. It's a good cloth of comedy.
Super smart. He was a neuroscientist and comedian.
Gave rats cocaine.
Yep.
Gave it to his nieces and nephews. Gave it to elementary schools. Served time.
Put some in
all
his
that's
butt.
fake, except for the rat part. Oh, but his joke was about donating sperm at a sperm bank. And they put you in the room and they're like telling you like, okay, you can, put your sample in this little cup. And if you need help delivering the sample, we have this collection of magazines here for you. And he's like, yeah, I know. And it's like, and we have these DVDs, like, okay, yeah. And we have this internet connection also, if you'd like to use that, like, yeah, you don't need to tell. And then also we have this HTC Vive virtual reality headset here. And then his answer changed from the previous 3 answers to, I need to go put more money in the meter. Like I went from saying, yeah, I know to, oh, I am going to learn an entirely new technology today I haven't experienced before. But yeah, it's strange that even in the VR context, porn or not porn, it's still like, it's not there yet. You still like you get tired of anything VR like after a week, or at least I do. It's like, no, it's just not, like my brain is acclimated to this. And there's something weird about you being the focus of everything all the time. You don't want to be the focus of everything.
Yeah.
I saw this Jordan Peterson clip talking about the dangers of pornography. And I can't even do the voice today. I haven't done it in a while. But he was talking about think about what pornography is and think about it in terms of hierarchies. So you're watching two people that are not you have sex. What does that do to you? Where does that put you on the hierarchy? And I thought it was so funny that he's watching it through the lens of hierarchy. And it conflicts with what you were saying about other species. Like they watch, but when they're in puberty, they're not going out and doing it. They're watching the other animals of their kin do it to learn.
Yeah.
So they're like all little creeps growing up. So it's like a natural part of puberty. But to see it as like, no, don't watch other people.
That's so porn specific. First off, that dude's just a fucking dad. As soon as you realize like, oh, this guy's just a dad and like serious about being a dad, and that's like the whole lens that he sees the fucking world through. Clearly, make your bed. Porn is bad for you. Fucking grow up. Take responsibility for I get it. You're a fucking dad. And
I'd never made that connection. He is a dad.
Yeah, you're just a dad, dude.
He's a good dad, and a lot of that advice is really good. But
of course. But that's for I only say that because there's like, as someone who hasn't watched porn in 5 years, I got no problem with. I don't think any of the science that is currently available shows that porn is bad for you. I don't.
What's all that brain stuff? Where it's like, here's how it changes your brain.
I mean, they say the same thing with like the actual research between video games and TVs and stuff, which is just like, there isn't, the science isn't there. If it is harming us, the science isn't really there to support the ways in which it is and like what mechanisms are at place. And intuitively I go, well, I just either don't believe that or we just haven't found it yet. I mean, porn does feel like junk food a little bit to me. I like that I use my imagination quite a bit more, but is it harming society? I don't. There's
not any more than video games.
No.
Or I don't think video games harm society either, but it's the same argument. It's like these violent kids are watching these violent video games and they're going and shooting up schools. And if there wasn't these video games, there would be no more school shooting.
And the hierarchy.
I don't think that's...
Watching porn doesn't fuck with my sense of hierarchy. Seeing seeing incompetent people become president fucks with my sense of hierarchy. Like, how can you avoid your sense of hierarchy being fucked with? Like, Brad Pitt fucks up my sense of hierarchy because none of us will just ever be as good as Brad Pitt. He's just a once in a generation perfect man.
I don't know.
Hopefully he has
divorced
some
a
flaws.
lot.
Yeah, he's divorced a lot, but
maybe that's them. Maybe that's Jen and Angelina. Maybe they're monsters.
That's like,
but maybe he's also a monster.
In terms of your brain assessing your social worth and social standing, I mean, half of porn is filled with like dirt bags. Like it's never. I've never. I don't know. Anyway, there's this woman that I've had on Here We Are a couple times, Nicole Prousey, and she does a bunch of porn research and
me too.
She does a bunch of cool stuff about like studying the female orgasm and stuff and which measured by a sensor that you put in your anus, because when females have orgasms,
in their anus, not in her anus.
Their anus constrict. Yeah, it's in her.
Like
anus.
They're having an orgasm. She's like, hold on, let me put this measurement device up my anus. All right, and I'm ready to observe.
Anal constrictions are a honest indicator of orgasm. So there's thing. Anyway, she did all these like she 3D printed dildos to see what size
So if you
women
think
actually prefer.
your partner is faking, then look at the anal constrictions.
Yeah.
And that'll let you know.
Yeah. And so anyhow, she has said that there's like no sense that porn is doing anything bad. She's actually been attacked and harassed and threatened by all of these anti-porn communities and stuff. And that's why when I hear Jordan Peterson say stuff like that, he can be a little bit of a blowhard regarding a lot of various topics, but two, I think that I wouldn't not watch porn or think porn is ruining society because of a Jordan Peterson video to listeners out there.
The only problem is not specifically with porn as a genre, but I think if one were to make an argument against it, it might normalize some behaviors that, like, for example, the choking or something. If people are like choking on the first date or something without consent because they see it in videos, and they think that's normal. But I mean, that's with anything like the violent video games. You just need to know.
Yeah, get used to reality bumping up against your dreams and just crushing them. Whatever you like, yeah, no. You know what? You want to see how good porn is? Give a lady the fucking pile driver where she's upside down and then you're going down from a standing position. See how comfortable that is. Like that's a popular one in porn. See if either of you are enjoying that experience in any way. You're probably not going to. And then you just learned an important lesson about porn. I mean, I get what you're saying, and that's an interesting
I don't
point.
even believe that argument. I just bring it up.
Right.
I'm a porn simp. I'm always like, it's not harming society. It's part of society.
Yeah, I mean, I always worry about messing up my libido for real life or something like that, but that's not what anti-porn advocates are worried about. They're like, you won't be horny enough in real life. That's never a big concern of theirs.
But with anything, it can, if any addiction or thing that messes up with your life, of course. And it's on a person-to-person basis. But, it's pretty woke to say, sex work is work, and, body positivity, liberation, freedom of that. And I think it's all good. I think it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And we've had a weird relationship with sexuality as a culture. It's been very puritanical up until now.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of going the other direction, and people are worried that it's the decay of society or something. But I think it's just the pendulum swinging back from too puritanical, where they're hiding piano legs because it would arouse people. I know that might be debunked, but we've heard the story where they would hide table legs because they would be too arousing.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think it's connected to, I was thinking about this the last time I was really depressed. Like I didn't even feel like some girl that I was otherwise interested in reached out to me, and I was like, I don't really feel like pursuing this or anything right now. And then I was like, that's how you know you're depressed. Like having a suicidal thought sometimes, like, that just comes with life. But like not having your whole reason for being, it's not that it's your individual reason for being, but the reason why you're here is because your ancestors had sex.
Successfully
reproduced over and over again over the course of 3.5 billion years. And so when the sex drive is gone, it's like, oh, there's probably something pretty bad. Not if you're in a super long relationship or whatever else, or various stages of life, sure, but I don't know. Do you know what I'm saying? It is it's such a core part of our drive that I can actually I can actually tell if I'm heading toward a funk if my libido is also down, if that makes
And
sense.
oh, for sure. And we've talked about before how it's strange that a lot of other animals have a mating season,
Yeah.
and then we don't have a mating season. It's just kind of a low hum of sex drive, like forever. So you're kind of always sexually frustrated, or perhaps depleted your sex drive from overusing it. So it's like a balance between sexual frustration and post orgasm libido dysphoria.
That's a fun term. Post-orgasm libido dysphoria?
Yeah.
Wow.
PLOD pulled. I don't know. I just made up that.
Sometimes so when people are like, how'd you guys come up with that t-shirt? Now you can listen to the podcast. All right. So it seems like we're scoring pretty evenly now. What about insight? What do you give yourself on insight?
I think I'm pretty insightful. I think I'm a good 6 there.
Yeah, I think I'm a 6 for sure. I'll give myself a 5 for awareness and a 6 for insight because it feels, I don't know, it's like pinging my self-conscious to be like patting myself on the back too much. But it's also my honest self-appraisal. And my purpose is my purpose is like a 1 or a 2.
Really? Because I was going to give myself right down the middle for purpose, because I don't have a big purpose, but I'm really good at little purposes. Like I can finish an art piece. I can do the trash. I can beat that video game.
You know what? As you say that, I'm gonna give myself a 4. I'm gonna give myself a neutral for purpose as you say that, because I'm just like, purpose is the one that's the roller coaster for me. I have huge ups and huge downs, whereas all of the other ones seem a little more stable. I think that when my purpose is way down, my awareness is also just awareness takes a bit more effort. Like insights are like free for me. I feel like I just naturally have ideas, insights, and like form connections and stuff. Awareness takes more work. And so when my purpose isn't there, then my awareness is also down. Insights is just like once in a while I'll have like a month where I'm like, I haven't had an insight. I haven't had like an idea. And I remember when I was newer in comedy, I'd be like, maybe I just never think of a joke again.
Your first writer's block. Wow.
It was just, like 2 to 4 weeks would go by. And that happens like once a year where it's not that I'm trying. It's not that it's writer's block so much. It's just that I notice I just hadn't had any like shower thoughts or whatever over the last 2 to 4 weeks.
Was that unusual. While you were in one place or while you were traveling? I'm wondering if traveling does something to it.
Traveling helps it a lot. Yeah. Yeah, I know from all the driving that I just did. Driving in general, I talk with Rihanna on the phone quite a bit when I'm driving. At least when I was on tour, that's like what that was like a big part of her job, was just like, I just need someone to talk to and write down the stuff that I'm saying while I'm driving. Cause like my mind's just in a good place, when I'm driving. And I'm my most inspired usually when I'm driving. Second only to like the big epiphany of like, yes, that's the show idea. That could be like, you could hear us be inspired in the Origin episode 0, Mind Under Matter. That was inspiration captured in a moment. But when I'm driving, I'm almost too inspired, where it's kind of like, oh yeah, and then when I get in, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Oh man, yeah, it feels, because there's something about the loss of control. Like all that I can do right now is get to my destination. It's not loss of control. It's that I'm doing exactly what I should be doing.
And you're
there's
in
nothing
motion.
else to be doing. Yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
in motion.
Motion is huge. Motion
Yeah.
is how you get closer to purpose, because a lot of the Tony Robbins type of stuff is all about like, don't think about what you're going to do. Just, can you get out of bed? Okay, just move around. Doesn't matter what you do, but as long as you're moving your limbs or your whatever you got, whatever you can move around that you're great, that you're fortunate enough to have on that body, move it around.
I do have because of for listeners that heard my almost seeing Tony Robbins story but canceled by COVID funniness, I did get access to the Tony Robbins app, which I never downloaded or anything, but I think it's like expensive to download normally, and I have it. And I have been meaning, because I still get emails about it once in a while. I'm like, oh, that might be funny for me to do, like start doing the or not even funny necessarily, but just interesting to start doing the Tony Robbins app and then just give people updates on how it's going regularly.
It is funny.
There is,
I don't know. He's such a caricature. You know, when someone thinks of a motivational speaker, they think of him because he's been in the game so long and he's so famous. So, yeah, you can't help but find it a little funny.
Yeah, right. Where are you on? Where are you on purpose? You said like 3?
I think right down the middle.
Right down the middle? You're in neutral.
Right down the middle, because I'm doing really well on little purposes, but then it's like, what's your big goal? What is your life about? What are you pursuing? Then it's like, I don't know, just doing stuff, I guess. Just doing stuff here.
Connection is the odd one because, I mean, I think with all of these, you can't try too hard. I was just thinking the reason why neither of us feel, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm wondering if you'll relate. The reason why neither of us feel like overly connected to people or whatever, but still we're connected with lots of, like, more than the average person probably. Maybe it's just because we don't care that much that's why it's the like playing hard to get with life situation. The things that you just don't give a fuck about are the things that it's like kind of gotta not care on stage and stuff. And
it is the secret to life. I was thinking about how anything you truly want to do, the secret is to have a different dream that you're avoiding. So you really want to be a musician, then like you do comedy instead, because it's like you're hiding from it, or vice versa. But anyone that does anything, it's like, you know what? I always just wanted to be a baker. But, I was, playing the saxophone and one thing led to another and I got hired on this gig and now I'm the best saxophone player in the world. But I always wanted to be a baker. And then the baker is like wanting to be John Coltrane and doesn't have any time to practice because they're baking all day.
Yeah.
See, it's all about bakers and saxophone players. That's the two lenses in which you can view the world through. But you have to put them on a hierarchy, otherwise it doesn't work. If it's not on a staircase in which one thing is higher than the other thing, then what are you even looking at? You wouldn't even see the person behind them because they're in front of you. So picture a staircase. Now imagine it flat. Now you can't see above. I guess if the person was short, you could see above them. But if they were tall, you wouldn't be able to see anyone. So we need hierarchies.
I feel like now I'm thinking about his porn stuff. I wonder how much porn he's watched, because those statements like that make me feel like,
oh yeah, I found a good one right here. I'm going to download that to the external hard drive. Oh, it says it's full. Well, I suppose I could bookmark it and then watch it later if the connection is strong enough. And sometimes it freezes on a frame that you like. And so you watch that as though it were an image. And then the stream resumes and then it gets into motion. I remember my friend in high school, like we were talking about
Jordan Peterson narrating what's happening during a porn with describing.
So you're at an orgy. There's both men and women, mostly the same, but the differences are going to be in the extreme. So the males are going to be slightly larger than the females on average. So you look around and you say, well, which one do I want to fantasize about? And you have trouble deciding. Arrange them into a hierarchy and work from that.
I don't work from that. Work from the hierarchy. That's what he's actually after, is the hierarchy. Well, of course. Why would you need to? Why would you need porn when you can just look at fucking Maslow's hierarchy of needs and just start coming everywhere? Which is
but what were you asking? Like
person.
whether he's watched, whether he's seen a full
maybe
porn before?
Maybe he just hasn't seen a good one.
I don't know. I recognize that. I mean, people get so many different things out of that, and some people just, it probably does nothing for them. Maybe doesn't matter what your gender. Probably men are going to be more into it because they're more visually oriented, and women are more narrative oriented. I think that's a thing. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Correct me in the comments if you're wrong, but only if you also thumbs up it.
Something like 90% of porn views are by males.
Yeah.
But we're also just getting, I mean, we're getting like multiple in a day sometimes, where usually when I talk to girls about this subject, which is my first, it's always an icebreaker. How often do you masturbate? It seems like
my friend asked that as my friend was an interviewer. Or go ahead.
It seems like females that I talk to, it's like 2 or 3 times a week, and that's, I mean, guys can pull that off in a day pretty easily.
2 or 3 orgasms. Oh no, I thought women did more. Women can go like all day.
Well, they're capable, sure, but the drive to do it.
Yeah, and also they might be reporting inaccurately.
Yeah,
like the
that's
statistics
true.
might be down.
Well, if any of you ladies out there are masturbating, if you think you're
send
masturbating more
to me.
more than men, let's hear it in the YouTube comments below.
Yeah, I remember hearing someone transitioning from female to male, and as a result of taking more testosterone, they started to get more into porn and stuff, and they understood the drive for it more. I don't know if that's very common, but it's one anecdote that I saw.
Yeah, who's the comic that forget his name.
Jim Norton.
Ian Harvey had reported a similar, was a female had a sex change, and he started in Boston, had the similar report of that when he started taking the male hormones, that it dramatically changed his libido.
And another thing I heard
sense.
was that that they became less interested in listening. Which that was a funny one. Whereas before they could tune in to someone and listen, and now it's like their attention span was kind of leaving a little bit, which is the, men aren't as good of listeners stereotype. So that's interesting. How much of that is just hormones kind of driving our thing? Yeah.
Good old endocrine system. So yeah, speaking of the endocrine system, I do think that I do think if you've never meditated before, just that that so the mushroom story that I shared, if you've never experienced anything like that, just imagine you had like gone through a fight recently or something with your significant other. You get in some disagreement over something, and then it resolves, and that feeling of having it resolved, and like whatever came out that needed to be said, and now you've grown together. That's what the best of a meditation practice can do. On the best day, after enough practice and everything, I feel like I get that sense of like I said during the mushroom story, my consciousness tuning into my parasympathetic response system, and just a feeling of ease, and probably most importantly for me at this moment in my life, or even the last few years, just manageable. Things have seemed feasible and manageable. And I think I was telling Ramin on the phone, it was like, before this mushroom trip, it was like, I was turning I was making mountains out of molehills, as the old expression goes. And afterwards, I felt like mountains seemed like molehills to me. Like, oh, I can climb that. I can do that task. And I will say that I have been more productive, and it did some of that. I've also just like got stuck playing this game Tichu more than I'd like. I'm addicted to that. And
what's Tichu?
Tichu's, have you ever heard of euchre or spades or hearts?
I know spades. I know hearts.
It's like that. It's a trick taking game, and you have a partner, and it's super addictive.
Is it Japanese?
Yeah.
Tichu, like Pikachu?
Yeah. So if you're from the Midwest like me, euchre is a popular thing. But euchre, once you know what you're doing, it kind of plays itself. Tichu has way more complexity, and just a lot more strategy wise going on of possibilities that can happen. But all of that is to say is that I'm not just perfect because a week ago I had this experience and started meditating regularly. I still have plenty of things that I'm working on, but at the same time, it resolved to cut out cigarettes and drinking at the same time is near impossible under regular circumstances. So it was like a little jump start of something that I needed just to get me through like a week or so. So I didn't experience any like withdrawal or anything like that. So, I mean, that to me is pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, and you won't feel worse. Like,
Yeah.
try meditating if you don't. Like, at the very least, you'll feel the same.
Yeah, if
and
you
then
feel
at
like
best,
you
you'll feel
wasted
way
10 minutes,
better.
then you should be like, hooray, I just wasted 10 minutes. I just created space to sit here, close my eyes, and waste 10 minutes. That's awesome that you did that
Status
for yourself.
symbol.
Yeah.
Handicap principle, showing
Yeah.
what you're able to sacrifice, because you're so fit that you can afford to lose 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about meditation in the future, but this is a fun, good general one, I feel like. Did you have anything that you wanted to end with?
I wanted to say that you should meditate right now after this episode if you haven't before. And if you've already meditated today, then you're off the hook. You can go to recess. But I think it's really cool that it's mainstream now, because I was thinking about George Harrison and how it was like he would be a huge proponent of it. And people would be like, what is this hippie Indian thing that you're doing? What? Do I have to be a vegetarian now? Do I have to say obla di obla da when I wake up? Do I have to? And there's interviews about it. So it's fun seeing how the culture has changed. And perhaps that's as a result of the extreme stress that we're under.
Yeah.
Over the communication. So it had to be this way. But anyway, yay meditation. Check out Calm app. Check out Headspace. Check out The Rocks, or what did you say, Tony Robbins?
People say good things about Sam Harris's meditation.
Oh, hell yeah. Love the hair.
I haven't listened to those, but I'm a fan of Sam's. I was also going to say that that's as you're telling people to meditate after this, I do think that's one of the tricks of meditation that no one talks about is you listen to a little minute-long concise thing before a meditation, in a guided meditation, and then you sit there and just listen to your breath for 10 minutes. and that little message feels more impactful. I think it's just a space in between. I think if you just did that with more things, you know, if you finished
Yeah.
watching the news or reading a book or having a social experience or whatever, and you just closed your eyes for 10 minutes afterwards, it would integrate more into
A social experience.
yeah.
Just like you talked to Rob.
Yeah.
And then that was an experience.
Yeah. And it's also, I also feel like it's easier to guide a meditation than it is to be, to meditate, because it's also like you're saying, listening can be difficult to do. Speaking's easy. Everyone likes telling people what to do. So when I hear someone on a meditation app giving instructions, sometimes I'm like, yeah, but you're on the side of getting to tell me what to do. That's the easy part.
But
I need
counterpoint,
to listen to things.
some people like to just be told what to do. Maybe
Yeah.
not most
I guess
people,
I'm
but
not one of those.
I was thinking about Nikki Glaser and how I don't know if it was a joke or she just said it on some podcast somewhere, but she like gets frustrated with her mother because she never holds an actual opinion and can never tell her what to do. And she's like, just tell me what I should do. And it's like, well, I don't know, because that decision's good, but then that one's good too. And so that's fed her neurosis.
Right.
And she's a person that wants to just like have all the decisions made. At least in that context. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Maybe if I said anything that was inaccurate or a bad take or something, I was just being sarcastic earlier.
No, we've been it's 27 episodes now, and we're on quite a streak of perfect accuracy. 27 episodes in a row. Everything that's come out of our mouth has been perfectly accurate. Not a single mistake made. Don't bother correcting us, because it's you're going to end up looking like the fool.
You are.
But yeah, in the YouTube comments below, if you're watching on YouTube, even if you're just listening on the app, if you feel like commenting on the YouTube, that helps with our engagement and everything. And it's also starting to become a fun kind of community message board. We've been getting a few more comments each week. So let us know what you do in terms of meditation, what mindfulness practices you have, what apps you might use, anything else like that. And check out Patreon, Mind Under Matter. Patreon.com/mindunderpod or mindunderpod.com to check out all of the latest and greatest merch that we have for sale. We got some new stuff on there.
We're having prints going up this week. So by the time this episode comes out, there'll be prints you can purchase. Prints with a T.
Nice.
Not musicians or royalty.
Sounds good.
Another one was I mentioned all those apps and stuff, but if you're someone who has a very like active mind and you really have trouble meditating, even though you've tried it, try the Neville Goddard Imaginell techniques. Those are more about like pinpointing focused manifestation type of things rather than avoiding thoughts. But to each their own. Everyone is perfect just the way I'd like them to be if they follow my instructions. And yeah.
What I think I think yoga takes the cake just because you're getting exercise as well as, to me, it feels like a deeper meditation experience. Just because it's just as mindful for me to have to be following an instruction and doing a bit of stretching and everything else. So I actually prefer that to guided meditations. But I found that guided meditations help train you to be more mindful in everyday life in a way that yoga does not. But yoga, in terms of actually when you really need to relax or meditate a lot, is better in some ways.
Yeah, so. Both is good.
Both is good. Do both. All right. Well,
do both. Stay aware, stay connected, stay insightful, and remember your glorious purpose.
Give
which is
us
to
money.
Yes.
Until next time.
Keep on salivating, honeys. Ding.